What is up, my YouTube friends? My name is Koty-Tang. Few games these days manage to capture what was so great about single-player games, and at the moment, it's being found in an unlikely place. Genshin Impact is a much lesser known game, but still something that genuinely thrilled me while playing. Taking notes from several other games, especially the world design of Breath of the Wild, Genshin Impact is a single-player action RPG loaded with things to do. There are so many things to talk about, from the elemental combinations to the stat enhancers to exploration. I wouldn't be able to fit it all in just one video if I were to talk about it. So first, let's start with the positive. The quality of the game is fantastic. I love the art, and the way they crafted each and every part of the world just makes it so much fun to walk around. I really appreciate that they actually made a story with unique quests, all voice acted, except for a number of scenes since it's still in beta. Also, the story specific moments that could have you fighting a dragon in the air or sneaking around guards, and the boss designs are so much fun. Nothing beats an actual health bar on a boss that isn't just there to pretend you're doing a lot of damage to it when really you just need to hit it 3 times. Games that require you to use your actual ability to play the games, always refreshing. Just like in Breath of the Wild, the side quests won't show up anywhere on your map, so be sure to talk to everybody you meet. I prefer this style of questing, finding anything to stop me from just mindlessly running from point to point, and rather encourage exploration. Which brings up another way to find quests. Exploration may lead you to find an entire quest line to follow. These quests gives you loads of adventure EXP, so they're definitely something to look out for. Though if you are halted in the story, they can be more of a hassle and take quite a few hours longer. You'd be better off grinding the few adventure EXP needed to level up anyway. I'll get more on that later. It's really all about outsmarting the game's more enticing systems for the ones less time consuming, but also not as entertaining. The dungeons, while quick, are all pretty varied from each other. You'll never do the same one twice, and as you level up more and more, you unlock even better dungeons to play in. Then there's special challenge rooms that all have a ton of different obstacles for you to master and learn from. As for the actual story, since it is an anime, it will every now and then devolve into some skin-crawlingly cringe-based storytelling. So there are definitely moments that will make you groan in agony with how some scenes or characters are written. And there are traps, because anime loves to feminize boys. But when I finally saw some men that were actually men, I was pretty happy. And as per every anime, characters are not written like actual people, but rather they are tropes personified and taken to the extreme. So they're just as one-dimensional as most anime characters are, save for the few exceptions. That's not really a fault that I'm talking about here though. It is just my personal gripes with anime in general, and to be fair, when it comes to a game made in this way, there's nothing inherently wrong with characters that just are as they seem. When it comes to anime games, and the large cast they tend to bring, writing a one-dimensional character allows for much more fluent and cleaner writing. It makes it easier to insert a character into the story at any point, without any plot holes or people acting out of character due to growth they may have gone through in an earlier chapter or side missions, so I don't expect them to be able to make complex emotions and add deep backgrounds to pull from for each character, and there are anime character tropes that I do enjoy seeing. But besides the subpar anime-based writing, the story is mostly enjoyable since there's a ton of variety, and if you weren't enjoying one of the chapters or storylines, a different one will surely keep you entertained. The choices it gives you for dialogue options are just there for show, as with most games, but are also written in a way that not many people would answer to a situation, and there's a joke option, which is what I would usually choose because there are definitely moments in the story that I just could not take seriously. They nearly mastered exploration in this game. There's puzzles, world bosses, various enemies to encounter, chests, and collectibles all over. I say nearly mastered because while they have all these things laid out, the rewards in many of these chests are just underwhelming and will just be used to upgrade your already better weapons. Weapons that you can find in very specific areas of the map that you can also get through the gacha. Speaking of things that are just awful, now for my favorite bit. Let's get negative. Something I'm more in favor of is reward by trial. I'd rather work for something I want rather than pay for it. And I think this game does it moderately well to a point. However, games like this that have gacha-based winnings tend to favor you paying money rather than doing the event, which would usually require you to be max level and have a large list of overpowered characters to even participate properly. For consistency's sake, if the character is a part of the primary story, then there really should not be a reason the character is not given to us for free, especially if the character actively participates in the story as a fighter that you play as. After the conclusion of the first town story, you should have unlocked Venti as a reward for completing that plotline, and for playing as Diluc and Zhongling shortly after you first met them, they both should have been unlocked as well. I can understand some characters not being unlocked. You never actually get a demo to play as Jean, so she can pass, but if there's a trial of a character, they should be unlocked for completing that mission. This trend continues throughout nearly every storyline, so this isn't the only instance, it's a very recurring thing. I don't find it appropriate that the game teases you with demos of these characters, then takes them away from you and locks them behind the gacha wall. My characters are all the levels required to participate in every current activity, however, none of them have movesets good enough to do any of the challenges. It seriously sucks because there's no reason that after 40 hours, I still only had the 5 basic characters. All I could do is grind my adventure level up and hope the story nets me enough Primo Gems to get 10 fates. If you just decide to summon, you aren't promised a 4-star gacha or higher, so just summoning wastes your fates, you have to do 10. Which brings us to the gacha system. It has one, and it's quite overzealous. Making you purchase 2 separate crystals in order to use the different summons is a pretty scummy thing to do. By the time I had beaten the first plotline, I had been playing for around 20 to 30 hours and still only had the first 5 characters because the gacha system constantly gave me weapons. Especially ones that I already had repeatedly, even in the event summon, which has a 50% chance for you to get at least one of these characters. I managed to get nothing but a weapon. When that happened, I was over 40 hours in the game and still only had the first 5 characters. I was also robbed of a new character because one of the free characters you get is for some reason literally inside the banner. What the hell kind of sense does that even make? After around 50 to 60 hours of playtime, I finally unlocked a character from the gacha, but before this, I just happened to be able to unlock Zhongling as well due to an event that allowed me to unlock her freely. After hitting level 45, of course. I pulled Fischl, and while I wasn't looking forward to playing as another bow wielder, it was nice to finally have new characters with unique movesets to play as regardless. And they do a terrific job at making every character feel unique from each other. So it's a huge bummer that you don't get any of them unless you get extremely lucky gambling your money away in the gacha. It's nice to have even just one new character, especially after being cheated out the first time by pulling Kaya, a character who is again unlocked for free at the beginning of the game. They tried to compensate me by giving me Star Glitter, one of the currencies used to purchase special items, and something to level up one of my character's abilities with, but I would much rather unlock a brand new character and have characters like that removed from the banner. You know, the characters that are literally given to you for free by doing the story. I hate that it even has weapons in the gacha around the 4-star range, because if I'm guaranteed something for 4 stars, it had better damn well be a character. I have been robbed several times because the game decided to give me a weapon instead. What the hell is that bullshit? How is it that 3, count them, 3 of these characters have a 50% chance and I'm out here pulling weapons? All weapons should be found in the wild or crafted, or don't let any of them be 4 to 5 stars unless it's literally a weapon banner. How hard is that? Save the 4-star ratings for characters. It's like this game thinks it's just passing out hundreds of Primo Gems for you to spend. I'm even more upset because I started this beta on day 1, so I didn't even have this banner as an option until around my 3rd day of playing. I was instead only able to pull from this unique beginner banner, which only has 20 pulls by the way, and then wasted all my Primo Gems on this standard banner, where I just pulled a bunch of weapons, just to find out that the special banner with a 50% pull rate costs an entirely different fate, so now I'm having to figure out how the hell I'm gonna come up with all these Primo Gems. Let me stop before I get ahead. We'll get back to that later. But for real, I literally got robbed by the developer's shitty pull rates and by the event. What the hell? Since I only had the 5 basic characters, there were certain tasks that I just couldn't complete, even though I was the right level for it, because I couldn't kill some of the enemies fast enough, because some characters just aren't as strong as the characters presented to me in the story. So I had a little trouble with it. I had to come back when I was another level, and then because now I was so overpowered, I just flew right through the thing. You can go online to get some help for some of these quests, but there are also ones that you cannot go online for, so you have to do them yourself. You can't get help on the Spirit Dungeon, and you can't get help on regular dungeons. You can only get help on the domains. So while I would say, yeah, just get some help, I can't say, yeah, just get some help. And now, for the largest problem of this game that will spread like a plague and deter more than half the community, unless they work toward fixing it. After hitting adventure level 21, a grind starts to kick in, and I was grinding to hit 23 just to continue the story, because you have to be a certain adventure level to do the next quest. They did not give you enough adventure experience from missions. When I was adventure level 21, I needed 3,725 experience, and each mission I did only gave me 75 to 100, while exploration would only net me 30. The adventure quest can often be pretty ridiculous for little to no reward, like this one that literally wants me to do 5 4-hour expeditions, and all I get is a measly 100 adventure experience. What kind of reward is that? So now here I am, level 45, adventure level 27. At the time of this recording, of course, which is Wednesday. I need 5,150 experience to progress to the next level, right? Well, I just did my dailies, so before this I had 2,275 experience. Get ready, because I'm about to throw a bunch of numbers at you. So after doing my dailies, it only net me 1,550 experience, so I was bumped up to 3,825. I still needed 1,325 experience to level up. My next quest is unlocked at adventure rank 29. The experience goal is going to go up when I do level up, so let's say it raises to 5,400. My dailies can only get me 1,550 experience. In order to get any experience from the Adventure Guild, I need to upgrade my weapon to Phase 3, which is my last mission for this chapter. Only problem with that is, in order to upgrade my weapon again, I need to be Adventure rank 30. So, let's just say I don't have time to play this game regularly. Just going off daily commissions, it will take me 3 real-life days to get to rank 29. And that's just to get the quest. The quest chain rewards mean that every time I complete a quest in this plotline, I'll get these exact rewards. Notice that it isn't going to give me Primogems, which are used to get fates. Oh, I'm not done yet. So that's 3 days if I don't have time, right? Okay, let's say I do have time to play all day and can do any of these quests that I want. And as you can see, I'll gain adventure experience from all of them. But did you notice something strange about some of these quests? This little icon here is a currency called resin. It's spent in order to unlock these rewards after I have completed the mission, meaning I can't actually claim any of the rewards shown without using it. Well, how about the domains then? They don't have the resin icon, so let's go to one. Oh. So by going to the dungeon, we find out that in order to gain the dungeon rewards, after having completed the dungeon, I have to spend resin. You have a maximum of 120, and it cannot be upgraded so far in the beta. I would be able to use this, an item called Fragile Resin, to replenish it for 60 points. but those are only received through Adventure Guild rewards, which require me to level up my adventure rank, which again requires 5,400 experience. But I can use Primogems to give me my resin back, but I can only do this 6 times a day for only 60 points, and the only way to get Primogems for me is through exploration, which will net me around 5 to 10 for each chest, or for daily commissions, I'll only get 60 a day. Those 60 can then be used to replenish resin once, because after using it once, it costs even more. But that's not all. If I use up my Primogems on my resin because I need adventure experience, then I won't have enough to buy literally one fate of the required 10 for the 4-star, which cost 160 Primogems, meaning I won't be able to summon at all. These resin points will restore by 1 point every 8 minutes, because giving you at least 10 every 5 minutes would have been way too generous. My final option is to explore and find these orbs, but that's dependent on if I can even find them, because finding them will level up my statue rank, which will then give me a good amount of adventure experience. That's hoping it doesn't take me hours just to find one orb, because they don't show up on the map, and I've already collected a ton of them. The world level is supposed to raise and give you better rewards. By that logic, I should be getting a ton more adventure experience and Primogems. This recurring random quest doesn't even give me anything at all. So, in conclusion, it will take me at least 3 days just to get the next story quest, but that's not all. You see, after I complete that quest line, I will then need to be adventure level 33 to start the next one. This mobile bullshit system fucking sucks. I hate mobile game based systems for all these reasons. Since I'm going to refuse to put my money into this game when it finally releases, this eternal grind will be the result of my decision, unless I want to give the game my literal, real life money to place a bet on something that I probably won't even get. Another thing with this game, your characters don't level up through fighting enemies. Well, they can, however the experience it gives is literally non-existent. You get around 5 experience for each enemy you kill, regardless of level. So instead, you use these cards, which give you a set amount of experience. You can get these by doing quests, finding them in exploration, or by doing specific daily that you need resin for. The reward for that resin quest, well, it gives you quite a bit for characters under level 40. I would assume that I have to raise my world level rank to get even better cards, of which there is only one better card. I'm also pretty convinced that stats don't actually mean anything. As you can see, my main character's attack here is quite a lot higher than Noelle's. However, Noelle somehow still managed to hit around the same amount that my main character hits. I found that seems to be strictly weapon based. Upon leveling up my weapon, I was hitting consistently higher numbers, meaning the artifacts and stats of your characters don't play an actual role, and your abilities are based on the level of your weapon instead, and the level of your character. Or the multipliers are entirely wrong, at least for the current state of the beta. You could argue that maybe a character has specific skills or the weapons are adding certain effects, and that would be true, but why is my Traveler capable of having 200 more attack, yet somehow still managing to hit the same as somebody with 200 less? The defense of the enemies is bringing it down? Then the character who has 200 less would also be hitting around 70s, not 100s and 130s. I even tried with other characters and roughly the same results came out of it, so at least currently, the stats are entirely faulty. I played on the PlayStation 4 from my experience, and the game is actually optimized relatively well with occasional stutters here and there. But repeatedly, I would be in a cutscene, or in a dungeon, or in a loading screen, or even just switching my character, and I would just crash. Wouldn't matter how much was happening on screen, I would just crash. Thankfully, since it's always connected online, your progress is always saved, so it'll put you back exactly where you left off, except for all of the enemy health bars, which will be fully restored. Really annoying when doing a hard challenge or a boss and losing it because the game decided it couldn't handle something. And it does waste all your healing items if you use them. And while fighting the hypostasis enemies, I like to switch my characters repeatedly to always be attacking the boss in some way, which ends up making my game crash since I'm switching too much, forcing me to fight a specific way, or I'll risk my game crashing halfway through the fight. The update that happened Tuesday did help enough to where I don't have to worry the entire time, though I will still crash randomly. The best way to describe Genshin Impact to somebody is to say it's a game inspired by many other games to create one extremely flawed but great game. I'll be playing this one for a while since I still find the gameplay to be really enjoyable. It will kind of become a game I get on every day and play a few hours until I eventually forget to play one day and then I just never play again. Hopefully by the time the game actually releases, they'll have improved the things that I talked about and actually made the game more fair and less scummy.